Hello, my name is Ariel, like the mermaid. A few weeks ago I made an update vlog where I said that I was interested in possibly doing a weekly vlog where I just kind of posted some sort of updates about my life. And I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to make it a weekly vlog because I'm really busy because I'm just starting my school year back at Bard. I think that it'd be fun to try kind of just in general whenever I can. So I guess this is kind of the first one of those vlogs. So I think I kind of want to have like a name for this vlog that I'm doing. This kind of like just random personal updates kind of vlog. I think the temporary title at least, and I might just stick with it, is I'm going to call them blah blah vlogs. So the first thing I want to bring up in this vlog is the comment section on my videos. Most of the comments are lovely and nice, and I enjoyed in general getting feedback. There's occasional some not so nice comments. What I kind of want to figure out though is because there's different kinds of comments that are not so nice. Some that might just be criticizing what I say and might just be kind of saying, I don't really agree with you on this issue, and that's one thing, but there's also just ones that are totally not constructive and just kind of saying just hate and just saying negative things that aren't helpful to anybody and aren't promoting a constructive dialogue. And the thing is, for me personally, I don't mind getting those comments, and I can deal with it. Overall, my general philosophy about the comments section is I don't really want to regulate it too much. I don't like regulating speech, and even like really nasty speech, because the fact is it's reality. It's just the fact is some hateful person decided to put that on YouTube, and I don't want to necessarily deny that that exists. That does exist. But at the same time, it's not worth it if some of my viewers are really uncomfortable from the content that they're seeing in the comments, because I want people who are trans and people who are queer to feel safe commenting on my videos and not feel like they're gonna experience certain they're not gonna have to deal with a bunch of transphobic and homophobic and just in general bigoted bullshit. So my question is, would people like me to start regulating the comments and start removing comments that say certain slurs and say just, certain blatantly hateful things? I've already been regulating the comments a little bit. Frequently I will consistently delete comments if they're attacking another person. So anyways, I'm back in college. Which is fun. I'm really starting to enjoy a lot of the classes I'm in. It's a little bit, it's overwhelming for me when I have to travel and kind of switch to a different situation, particularly when I have to get back into schoolwork, because then, you have to, stop some of the bad habits and start focusing on getting some work done. And that's a little bit hard for me, but I think it's going to be worth it, because I think there's some classes that I really I'm looking forward to kind of getting into this semester, particularly theater classes. I had a nice break. A lot happened. It was a little bit overwhelming at some points, but overall it was a good break. The thing about breaks is, for me, because I'm like an artistic person and I really like to get stuff done in my free time. Oftentimes when I get a break, I don't like to actually take a break. I want to be doing something. I either want to be writing or creating videos or making animations or something. So I didn't get quite as much done as I would have liked to. I told myself I was gonna write a play, for example. I did none of that. I barely did any writing. I did a little bit of writing, but barely any. The problem with whenever I'm on break is that I always feel like I just don't get all that I want to get done. Because I'm like, oh, I want to get 20 vlogs done, and I want to make a bunch of animations, and I want to, make a funny video, and I want to, write 5 plays and 5 novels and, all this stuff. I want to do everything. And then get 3 things done or 4 things done or whatever, and, you're like, I feel like I've accomplished nothing. So I've kind of been dealing with that recently. I've been feeling a little bit unfulfilled because I haven't, I always make these difficult goals for myself, and I constantly kind of feel like this kind of unrest and oh, I need to be getting things done. If I'm not getting things done, then I'm, just kind of letting my opportunities just go away and blah. I'm trying to kind of, calm down a little bit and just kind of take things, one at a time and kind of be like, okay, Ariel, just calm down. Just focus on, accomplishing, small goals one at a time. I think that some of that kind of frustration about not getting work done kind of made me a little bit on edge my last week of vacation. Unfortunately, I had these like really strong bursts of anger twice during that week. First, there was, I was driving out in the snow to try to meet a friend, and I was, it was, snowing really hard, and there was so much snow on the ground, and like the snowplows hadn't come and, cleaned everything up yet, so I was just, the vehicle was frequently, it felt like it was like just on the verge of completely losing control, and sometimes like when I would try to like, steer, or when I would try to, stop the car, it would still keep on, moving, and it would go in the wrong, it was a mess. And, there would frequently be this kind of like, this triangle, this like orange triangle, like that clearly I don't know exactly what it means. I think it means that the vehicle has kind of lost control or something, and it's not moving quite the way it should be moving. I don't know exactly what it means. It's pretty terrible because I've been driving for a while. I've been driving for a few years, and still there's certain things that I don't like, that I see in the car and I don't know what the hell it does. Driving is still really stressful for me sometimes. I've never enjoyed driving. It was never something I really wanted to do. I like the fact that I can drive simply for the sake that, being able to drive means you're able to get places, and when you can get places, you can go meet people, you can go do things with people, you can go get things on your own. It gives you a certain element of independence, and I love that, but I don't like actually driving. It makes me stressed out, because like it's scary when you're driving. A lot of people, I think when they get used to driving, they really take it for granted. I get stressed though, because at the end of the day, even though driving a car is not that hard and I'm perfectly capable of doing it, it still stresses me out, because even though it's not, I'm quite certain that I'm not gonna do anything wrong, if something does go wrong, if I mess up while driving in a not terrible situation, if I do something bad and it's not what I'm supposed to be doing, and there's like a cop around, they might pull me over, which would be intimidating and scary and not fun, and fortunately that hasn't happened to me. But the more extreme situation where you're not just having to deal with a cop is if you actually get into an accident and something goes really bad, and like you're putting your own life in danger and another person's life in danger, and it's just fucking horrifying. Driving cars is scary and it's stressful. If you add up all the time I have driven in general, it's not that much. It's enough that I know how to do it, but I'm not that good. And so there's still certain things, like there was like a, like again, like the little triangle that's coming up and like blinking, and like I don't know what the fuck that is. Another thing is, there's something, at one time, there's this like another triangle, that like a button with a triangle, like a red triangle, and if you press it, what it does on the car is it makes like your lights blink. So it's basically, you turn it on if something's wrong with your car, and you have to pull over, and so that people can be aware, oh, there's something wrong with that car, I gotta be careful when I'm driving around them. I didn't know that though. It was just pretty bad, because I need to know that as a driver. So one time, like the GPS fell off, which happens a lot when I'm driving. Unfortunately, the GPS falls off the window and it bonks the button. It bonked the button once, like, and so the lights were blinking, and I was like just freaking out and like, what the hell? Why is the lights doing that? I can't be just driving around with like the lights blinking wrong. So I had to pull over, and I had to call my mom and ask her what was happening and why the lights were being weird. And then she explained, no, it's just like you just press the button with the triangle on it and then it stops, and it's, sure enough, I pressed it and then it stopped. I feel like that's not good that I didn't know that basic information. That's something I should have known. It's weird when you're learning how to drive, because you don't learn everything, and once you pass the general exam, you can go and drive, whatever, they don't care. So this night, not only, am I driving, which is stressful enough for me, But I'm driving in snow and I'm losing control and I'm just freaking out the entire time. I'm just like I'm just like, you know, because I don't know if I'm gonna just crash into someone and, you know, it's gonna be terrible for so many reasons. You know, I have to deal with insurance, possibly risking my life, being culpable for an accident, you know, risking other people's lives. It was horrifying and I was stressing out so much. And so, what do you know, the GPS falls off. And I'm going to a place that I don't really know how. I kind of have a general idea of how to get there, but I don't know exactly how to get there. I certainly can't get there without the use of the GPS. So each time the GPS fell, I just started yelling like a whole string of obscenities and at an extreme volume, and I'm not going to even try to demonstrate what it was like now. But for a week, my voice was like so dead, and you know, I love singing, and I love just general like doing silly things with my voice. Like, just completely, after that night, my voice was just dead. And it's annoying when you get angry at something that's like that, you know, because you can't really put it on a person. It feels more satisfying when you're angry at a person and you can blame someone for doing something wrong. For me, it was totally my choice to go and drive out in the snow, and that was a bad decision on my part. It was out of a place of fear. I was scared because I was worried that I was gonna just die in the storm driving. Then there was another incident that I feel even more embarrassed about. To go to the place I was volunteering at, I had to take the subway in Boston, you know, to Boston, you know, which is, you know, called the T in Boston, that's what we call it. I had an incident when I was traveling back, and, you know, the fact is, you know, I was tired, you know, I had a long day. There was a seat that opened up, and I, you know, took the seat because, you know, I wanted to be able to sit down, and I wanted to be able to, you know, it's awkward to be able to, you know, try to check your phone when you're standing up on the T. And so as I was sitting down, and I wasn't really, you know, paying attention, you know, in general when I'm on the subway, I'm not really in the mood to talk with people, you know, and you know, it's sometimes it's scary because they're all strangers, they're people that you don't know how they're going to respond to you, or just what their general outlook on life is, what their general philosophy, you know, you don't know if they're a serial killer and they're, you know, just would like to, you know, take you in their van and kill you. When this person, you know, who's, you know, standing somewhere else kind of near me, who's like in his 40s, he says to me like, hey, you're just gonna, you know, sit in that seat while there's, you know, an older, you know, lady, you know, right there, you know, who, you know, you're taking the seat from, and, you know, so I, you know, I'm very like, you know, kind of flustered by it, because I didn't even notice that there was an older person who was near me, and you know, I was just looking at my phone, and so I was like, oh, I didn't notice that situation. And then he really bothered me because he kept on you know, like he kept on just, you know, going on and on about it, and just wouldn't let me just kind of be. And he was going like, you know, I think it would be the, you know, I think you should really consider giving up the seat to her, because, you know, it would be the gentlemanly thing to do. You know, I think it would be the gentlemanly thing to do. You know, they're being a fucking asshole about it, you know. Again, like, you know, if someone, you know, I totally sympathize with that. If there's an older person who might have a harder time just, you know, standing for like, you know, 40 minutes on a subway, you know, of course, and obviously if she had asked me for the seat, I would have given it up in a second, and I probably would have still given it up if the guy had just been like, you know, he could have gone about it. The point is, what frustrated me is he could have gone about it in a respectful way. He could have just been like, you know, oh hey, you know, did you know there's you know, an older woman that's kind of near you, and it looks like she could use the seat. Maybe you should give it up to her. If he had done that, that would have been fine, and I would have been totally, you know, like, oh, maybe that's a good idea. You know, hey, you know, do you want the seat? But this guy was just a fucking asshole about it. He was, you know, and there was something about it, he just had the most condescending tone. He seemed to just have this attitude that he was like, you know, being a father figure who was teaching me like a great lesson in chivalry. You know, you have to, when there's an older lady near you, you need to give up that seat because it's the gentlemanly thing to do. And that was part of like what bothered me. It's like he said, you know, I think it'd be the gentlemanly thing to do. You know, if it was me, that's just me. I'm just saying, you know, I just think that from a moral and ethical point of view,
what you're doing is wrong. You're like Adolf Hitler. This is what Adolf Hitler would do. If Adolf Hitler was on the subway, he would totally just sit there and not give it up to the older lady. But, you know, I think you seem like a smart young man, and I think that you should give it up.
And, you know, again, it wasn't like that big a deal. He was just, you know, being a kind of an asshole about it, and, you know, being like a fucking condescending little prick. But, you know, harmless enough. He had good enough intentions. But it fucking made me furious. And part of it was just that he was harassing me and making me uncomfortable and making me out to be a terrible person just for sitting down after a long day of volunteering and, you know, kind of feeling a little bit tired, and kind of wanting to sit to myself and not even noticing that there was an older lady. So, you know, just to get away from this fucking creep, more so than to give the seat to the woman, because it didn't even fucking, you know, it didn't even occur to me. And, you know, that she never, like, asked me for a seat or whatever. And so I said, you know, hey, do you want the seat? And she's like, oh, are you getting off soon? And I'm like, no, you know, you can, I'm not really getting off soon, but, you know, I just want, you know, if you wanted the seat. And she's like, oh, well, if you don't mind. She was really nice about it. She's like, oh, well, if you don't mind, if you're not, you know, don't mind standing. And I was like, yeah, sure. And so I got up, and then this motherfucker just like fucking pats me on the shoulder and goes like, hey, good guy, you good man. So I just like immediately pushed through people and was blatantly rude to other people on the subway because it was crowded as fuck. And so I pushed through people just to get away from the creep, because just something about the way he went about it and just his general attitude made me incredibly uncomfortable and just got under my fucking skin. Again, the basic thing that he was trying to do, I don't mind. I don't have a problem with it. If he's just like, oh, you know, and probably it was partially, again, I mentioned that it was just a stressful week. You know, if it was a different circumstances, I probably wouldn't have even really cared that much about it, but there was something about the way he went about it that just fucking made me furious. There's part of me that really hopes that that guy saw that I had moved and saw that I was clearly like trying to get the fuck away from him, and it felt embarrassing because I was angry about something so small, and it really, in the grand scheme of things, it didn't matter. He didn't like do anything terribly wrong to me. He just, you know, was well-intentioned enough, wanted to, you know, I mean, he misgendered me, but I wasn't even presenting as femme as I am now, you know, and so there's no way that he would really, you know, could even, you know that, and obviously he probably comes from a certain perspective and probably just isn't even really aware about transgender people. But the point is, it really, even if it wasn't rational, it really fucking got me angry. And unfortunately the rest of the night I was just yelling in my room, and while I was Skyping a good friend of mine, I just ended up, I was explaining what happened, and I just started yelling and just lost control, and it was just, you know, and again, my voice was already fucked up from the night before, and I just put it in even more ruins, and now my voice has finally started recovering, but it was just fucked up for a while, and I was just screaming, and, you know, eventually I was screaming so long and saying horrible things that I would never say in general, but I was just so angry that I just, you know, it was a bunch of profane nonsense. And then eventually I, like, you know, after I'd been screaming for so long, I just kept on breaking down and crying, including in front of my mom, because my mom, like, came to check on me, you know, because she heard me screaming so loud, and, you know, I was like, hey, you know, are you okay? And I was just like, yeah, I'm and I just like fucking collapsed and was in tears, and, you know, fortunately she was like really supportive and was like, you know, tried to comfort me as best as she could. But again, it was more just embarrassing because I was just so angry about something that didn't really matter. Fortunately, I haven't had anything like that recently, and I haven't been letting out like a huge, you know, whirlwind of anger recently, and hopefully I won't. Anyways, so that's what's kind of been going on in my life recently. Hopefully I'll be able to make some more videos in the future. I had rehearsals right when I came back, and I'm still in rehearsals. I'm getting ready for a show that's coming up, and I'm gonna be busy for a little while. Anyways, thank you for watching the video. Bye!